Hey everyone, welcome to Devotionables, brief devotions for busy people. My name is Derek Riley. I'm the director of Young Couples 1 here at 9th and O, and I teach in there as well. We're finding ourselves in the middle of Holy Week this week, coming up on Holy Wednesday, looking forward to Good Friday and the Easter weekend. And here for our devotional, we find ourselves in Mark 14, as Jesus is coming before the council to be tried and to ultimately be sentenced to death. But that's not where Mark starts in 14. In 14 and verse 53, Mark starts with Peter. Mark starts with Peter, who has been with Jesus all night up until then, through the Last Supper and through the garden where Jesus was arrested. And then he comes with Jesus, even now, into the courtyard where Jesus was going to be tried inside. And Mark tells us that Peter comes inside with Jesus, and Mark sets up the table for a story about Peter. But then, almost like he forgot something important, almost like he said, wait, before we get there, you need to know about this. He takes us inside and shows us what's happening inside the council, what's happening with Jesus there. And by setting it up this way, Mark draws our attention first and foremost directly to the question at hand in both places. And it's, who is Jesus? Who do the people say that Jesus is? So we go inside the council room. We go inside this trial as there are people coming forward and giving testimony about Jesus. And people are lying. People are bearing false testimony, twisting Jesus' words, saying that he said things that he didn't say. And the people come forward to say all of these false things about Jesus, but none of their testimony lines up. It all conflicts. And so they can't condemn him on that. They can't convict him on this false testimony. So finally, we have the high priest who steps forward and comes up and says, Jesus, who do you say that you are? Do you say that you're the same person they claim you are? Are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One? And then it comes to Jesus to give his answer for who he is. And he says, yes, I am all of those things, but I'm more than that too. And Jesus says, I am not just the Messiah. I am not just the Son of the Blessed. I am the Son of Man, who comes in power, the Son of Man from Daniel 7, who rides on the clouds, who comes in power, who is given a kingdom that will last forever. He says, that is who I am. And that is so much greater than any of the visions that these people have, and so much greater than any of the accusations that can be brought against him. So much so that the high priest tears his garment and says that it's blasphemy and condemns him to death for it. But it can't be blasphemy if it's true. And Jesus says, this is who I am, and he is true and steadfast in that. On the complete opposite side, anything but true and steadfast, Mark takes us back out to see Peter in the courtyard. And we know that Peter knows all of these things about Jesus. We know that Peter was one of the first disciples who he called back at the beginning of Mark. We know that Peter has been walking with Jesus through this whole narrative. We know that in chapter 8, Peter was the first one to stand up and say, when Jesus asked, who do the people say I am, and who do you say that I am? Peter had the right answer then, and he said, you are the Christ. You are the Son of God. And Peter walked with him and continued right up the mountain of transfiguration, where he saw Jesus revealed in power and in glory, clothed and robed in light. And he sees Jesus in the most magnificent way. But there, in the darkness of the courtyard, surrounded by enemies and living in fear, when it comes time for Peter to say, who do I think that this man is? Peter denies Jesus. And he's not facing a trial and a tribunal and a sentence. He's faced with a servant girl who says, I think you were with him. I saw you with him. He says, no. I don't even know who that is. When the servant girl goes and tells somebody else, I really think he's with the guy on trial in there, Peter says, I don't even know who this person is that you're talking about. And when others come and say, no, you've got to be with him. You even sound like a Galilean. You have to be with the Galilean who's on trial in there. He swears curses down on himself and says, I don't know this man, I know nothing about him. The way that we answer this question is what defines us in our life. This is the most important question that we will ever be asked, and the most important question we will ever answer. Who is Jesus? And every time we are asked that question, we find ourselves at a crossroads where we can go like Peter in fear and deny who Jesus is, either deny him completely or try to trade out the truth of who Jesus revealed himself to be for something that's smaller and lesser than the true glory of the Son of Man. Or, like Jesus, we can follow the truth and be steadfast in that truth and say that Jesus is the Son of God, he is the Son of Man, he is all these things and more. But unlike Peter, if we're going to do that, we have to keep our eyes on Christ. We have to find ourselves immersed completely in his word. We have to hold Jesus first and foremost in our hearts. And we have to rely on the church, rely on each other to remind ourselves of who Jesus is and where we are as his disciples. If you want to know more about who Jesus says that he is all those things that he said in this passage and more. And here after the Easter week, starting next Tuesday and Wednesday at 9th and O, we're going to start our study of gentle and lowly. Because Jesus is the Son of Man who is displayed in power. He's the King who will reign forever. But at a different point, when Jesus went to say who he was, he said, I am gentle and lowly in heart. So if you want to see that side of Jesus too, I encourage you to join one of our groups. We'll be reading through this book over the next few months, and it will be a fantastic time of reading about who Jesus said that he is, and we can go through that together. Thanks.